Good evening. Tonight, we're tracking a major diplomatic rift between the United States and the Philippines, two long-standing allies, over the crisis in Venezuela. Washington is leading a global campaign to isolate Venezuela's government, using sanctions and political pressure to force a democratic transition. Manila, however, has publicly called for non-interference and respect for Venezuela's sovereignty, challenging decades of aligned foreign policy. This isn't just a minor dispute. It signals a potential realignment of alliances in a world already grappling with instability. For over a century, the US and the Philippines have been treaty allies, but Manila is now pursuing a more independent foreign policy, balancing ties with both the US and China. The disagreement over Venezuela is the latest and perhaps most telling chapter in this evolving dynamic. Diplomatic statements have become increasingly firm. US officials urge unity against authoritarianism, while Philippine diplomats emphasize peaceful resolution and non-intervention. This public back and forth highlights a growing chasm that could have consequences far beyond Venezuela. It's a test of a long-standing partnership at a critical moment in international affairs. The US has pursued a policy of maximum pressure on Venezuela, aiming to compel a change in government through sweeping economic sanctions. These sanctions target Venezuela's vital oil industry, cutting off financial resources to the government. Washington believes this pressure is necessary to restore democracy and human rights, and has rallied allies to isolate Caracas diplomatically. The US sees unity among allies as crucial. Manila's break from this approach is viewed as undermining the campaign. American officials argue that strong, decisive action is the only way to bring about positive change for the Venezuelan people. Reports of political prisoners, suppression of dissent, and economic collapse are cited as justification for intervention through non-military means. The Philippines stands in stark contrast, grounding its position in national sovereignty and non-interference. Manila argues that sanctions often harm ordinary citizens more than governments, worsening shortages of food and medicine. The Philippines advocates for diplomatic engagement and humanitarian aid delivered through neutral channels. This stance is also strategic. Manila is wary of precedents that could justify foreign intervention in Southeast Asia. Philippine officials clarify they do not endorse Venezuela's government, but insist that solutions must come from within through inclusive dialogue. This diplomatic clash reveals two worldviews. The US champions liberal interventionism, believing in a duty to promote democracy, even through coercive means. For Washington, Venezuela is a test of these values. Inaction is seen as endorsing authoritarianism. The Philippines, meanwhile, prioritizes realism and state sovereignty, seeing strict alignment with major powers as risky. Manila's approach favors long-term negotiation and dialogue, arguing that sustainable peace can't be imposed from outside. The disagreement highlights a global debate. Should nations intervene for humanitarian reasons, or does sovereignty take precedence? The US points to suffering in Venezuela. The Philippines warns of a slippery slope toward global instability. This rift sends a signal to other nations, showing even close US allies can diverge on major issues. It could embolden others to pursue independent paths, complicating international coalitions. The spat also affects global energy markets. Divisions could open pathways for Venezuelan oil to re-enter the supply chain, impacting prices. In the Indo-Pacific, a public disagreement may be seen by China as a weakening of the US alliance system, creating opportunities for Beijing. The situation also tests international institutions like the UN, highlighting the challenges of unified action when major powers disagree. In conclusion, the US-Philippine clash over Venezuela reflects the growing pains of a world shifting toward multipolarity. Traditional alliances are being tested as nations reassess their foreign policy alignments. The dispute reveals a fundamental divide: pressure and sanctions versus dialogue and non-interference. The broader impact is already being felt, influencing diplomacy, energy markets, and regional security. For the US-Philippine alliance, this is a critical test that could set a precedent for future partnerships. As the world becomes more interconnected, managing such disagreements will define successful diplomacy in the 21st century.